So the important concepts that we have discussed till now are electric dipole. We calculated the dipole moment due to an electric dipole at axial point and equatorial point, right? So that was the last concept that we have seen. So today we are going to start with a topic named as electric field lines. So this is the topic we are going to deal with. Okay. So can someone tell me what you mean by an electric field line? Can someone tell me what do you mean by an electric field line?
Sir, the lines representing the electric field.
Are they supposed to be as line itself is a question?
Imaginary line which
No, sir.
represents
So
the
imaginary lines which are going to represent
direction
the
of the
direction of electric field. They are something similar to magnetic field lines, right? So I want you all to visualize it. I'm going to show you something where we are going to visualize. I have some issue with my JavaScript. Okay, I'll show it later. Now I'll explain it theoretically. Now listen. So the topic we are going to discuss is electric field lines. 1 minute. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah. So electric field lines means they are the imaginary lines which represent what? They are the imaginary lines which are going to represent the direction in which a unit positive charge would experience a force. Okay. So the other name for electric field lines is electric lines of force. I think I've told this point already. So electric field lines are also called as electric lines of force. Why are they called as lines of force? Is because that is the direction in which a unit positive charge would start experiencing force. Okay. So if that is going to be the scenario, our work is to draw the electric field lines due to different system of charges. When I have an isolated positive charge, how are the electric field lines going to be? When I have a negative charge, how are they going to be? When I have a system of positive and positive charge, how are they going to be? When I have a system of positive and negative charge, how are they going to be? Okay. Now I'm going to start with this thing. Suppose I look at this and I have a point charge where it is a positive value. So I have a point charge which is positive, Q is greater than 0. Then how are we going to draw the electric field lines for it? How are we going to do it? Can someone tell me?
keep a discharge and
Radially outward.
Radially outwards.
You place a test charge, right? You place a test charge Q0 at a distance, let's say R from it, okay? You have a positive charge at a distance R, you place a discharge Q0, then in what direction is Q0 going to experience a force? It is going to experience a force away from the positive charge. It is going to experience a force away because both are positive charge and it is going to be a repulsive force. Similarly, if I place the same Q0 at some other point, at the same distance r, it will experience a force in the outward direction. So if I keep drawing a field around it, then the field lines are going to be in the radially outward direction. Keeping the same context in mind, the electric field lines due to a negative charge will be towards a negative charge. I hope you guys remember this, right? Now comes the next question. What will happen when you have a system of positive and a positive charge? Suppose you have a system of positive and a positive charge, or system of negative and negative charge. To put it more precise, when you have a system of like charges, then how are the field lines going to be? So for that, what we can do is, if you place a test charge here, right, this test charge due to this positive charge will experience a force in the outward direction. Right. Now, if I place, see, I'll draw a separate diagram and show it. Okay. I have a positive charge. I have a positive charge. I have another positive charge. Right. So, if I place a unit positive test charge here, what will happen? Due to the first positive charge, it will experience a force radially outward. Due to the second positive charge, it will experience the force in the radially outward direction. Accepted? Right. So can I say this is the electric field due to the first charge and this is the electric field due to the second charge? Since they both are acting in the same direction, these two will get added. Hence, the resultant electric field along the axis, along the line joining these two positive charges is going to be in the leftward direction. On the left of the left positive charge. Accepted? Similarly, if I take a point P dash here, then what is going to be the direction of electric field? Due to the first positive charge, it will be to the right. Sorry, first, second. This is E2. Right? Due to the first positive charge, this is E1. Any doubt in this? So E1 and E2, they both are in the same direction. Hence, they both will also get added. Accepted?
Yes.
Now comes the tricky part. Okay, if I take a point somewhere not on the axis of it, then what would have happened? If I had taken a point which is not on the axis, let's say this point is P. Now observe, guys. Due to the first charge, the electric field will be in this direction. Due to the second charge, the electric field will be in this direction, that is E2. Then the resultant of these two electric fields is going to be in which direction? That's what we need to answer.
Yes, sir.
So sorry?
Yes, sir.
They are going to be in this direction. Right? This is the direction in which the resultant electric field at that particular point is. If suppose I take this point, then if I keep changing the point, then what will happen is the direction in which the resultant electric field is, it is changing, right? If you are able to change, if you are able to plot the shape by joining all these dots, the shape that you are going to get is the electric field line due to what kind of a system? Due to a system of two like charges. So when you have system of two like charges, then the electric field is going to be in this way. Okay, here one important point to be noted is this electric field line and this electric field line will never meet. Okay. So what do you think will be the difference when you have a system of two negative charges?
The directions will be opposite.
That's it. Only thing, when you have system of two negative charges, you need to just reverse the direction of arrow mark. Because when you place a unit positive test charge at that point, they tend to get attracted. That's only logic. Okay. So you have to remember this. Unfortunately, I couldn't show this in a simulation, but I'll definitely try to show it by tomorrow. I have some issue in my laptop. I'll definitely resolve it by tomorrow and I'll show it as a first thing. Okay. So this is for system of two positive charges. If I have a system of a positive and a negative charge, what would have happened? It's very simple. So along the axis, along the line joining these two charges, the electric field is still going to be straight only. Okay. So if I take this point as P, due to the first charge, the electric field will be to the left. Due to the second charge, electric field will be to the right. Okay. But logically tell me one thing, the electric field at point P, due to the positive charge will be more or negative charge will be more? You know the positive charge, because it is closed. Electric field is inversely proportional to R square. I hope you remember this. Due to the positive charge, it is kq by R square. Due to negative charge also, it is kq by R square, but the distances are different. Okay. Hence, the electric field due to the positive charge will be more, means E1 minus E2, which one will dominate? Obviously, E1 will dominate. In a similar way, if I take a point P dash here, the electric field due to the positive charge will be to the right, electric field due to the negative charge will be to the left. Out of E2 and E1 at point P dash, which one will be more? Simple logic.
E2.
E2 will be more. So E2 minus E1 is the resultant of electric field at P dash. E2 will be the resultant direction. That is why if you see the way they have drawn is towards. I hope you're able to understand this guys. Okay. So this is what is going to happen. You will have a curve-like structure. You will have a structure like this. I hope this makes sense, right? Whereas when you take from the positive to the negative charge, the electric field lines start from the positive charge and they end with the negative charge, very much similar to your magnetic field lines. They start from the North Pole and end with the South Pole. North Pole is similar to positive charge, South Pole is similar to negative charge. The only difference here is magnetic field lines form a closed loop. What do I mean by closed loop? They start with positive charge, they end with the negative. They start from the North Pole and end with the South Pole outside the magnet, and inside what will happen?
It goes from south to north.
South to north.
I hope you're able to understand, right? But here there is nothing like the electric field line coming back from minus Q to Q. That will never happen. It is only one thing, that the electric field lines start from the positive charge and they get terminated on the negative charge. That's it. Is there any doubt? Okay. Okay. So these things you have to understand. Based on all these observations, there are certain properties that these field lines are going to possess, which are simple points yet very effective and important ones. So please make a note if you have a textbook. So if you have a textbook, please underline all the points that I'm trying to say. First thing, field lines. When I say field lines in this chapter, it is restricted to electric field lines. So field lines start from the positive charge and end at the negative charge. Okay. So similarly, if there is only a single charge, that is an isolated positive or negative charge, they may start or end at infinity. What do they mean? They may start or end at infinity. So if you have an isolated positive charge, the electric field lines end at infinity. If you have a negative isolated charge, the field lines start at infinity. That is what. Okay. Next, in a charge-free region, electric field lines can be taken to be so in a charge-free region, electric field lines can be taken to be continuous curves without breaks. Okay, this is an important point. So electric field lines are always continuous curves. They do not have any break. Why it is so, I will explain it when we solve problems. There is a question also, why electric field lines are continuous without any breaks. Okay. So as of now, accepted. Third, two electric field lines will never intersect. Okay. That is, if I draw an electric field line for any kind of a system, I cannot say one electric field line is like this. If I draw another electric field line to be in this way, then it is a wrong statement. It is not possible at all. Can someone tell me the reason for it?
Because at that point it will have two directions.
Two directions.
At that point it will have two directions.
Yes. So one thing we need to understand is when I place, so what do these electric field lines actually represent? They represent the direction in which a unit positive test charge would start experiencing force. Suppose I take this electric field line, okay. On this electric field line, if I take a point Q0 here, if I place a point such Q0 here, then what do I mean? Q0 will start experiencing the force along that electric field line. So at this point, if you draw a tangent at that point in the direction of electric field, okay, when I say tangent, I can draw a tangent like this also. But if you draw a tangent by showing the arrow mark in the direction in which the electric field is there, then that direction gives the exact direction in which the unit positive test charge would start experiencing force. Similarly, if I place a unit positive test charge Q0 here, then due to this positive and negative charge put together, it will experience a force in the tangential direction and the arrow mark will be in this way. Okay. So keeping this context in mind, if two electric field lines are going to intersect, then if I place a unit positive test charge at that point, then you're technically trying to say that unit positive test charge would experience force in both the directions at the same instant, which is obviously not possible. You cannot say Any particle will travel in two different directions at the same time unless it is broken into pieces. There is already a point charge. I hope it makes sense. Okay, this is a very important point. So two field lines can never intersect. If they did, the field at that point of intersection will not have a unique direction which is upside. Okay. Next, the last point is electrostatic field lines do not form any closed loop. This I have told you. This follows from the conservative nature of electric field that we will see in chapter 2. Okay. So have this point in your mind. Electrostatic field lines do not form closed loops. Is this point clear? If you're clear with this,
Sir, I have a
Yes, sir.
doubt.
yeah, tell me.
What are closed loops, sir?
Closed loops means I have a positive charge, negative charge. Electric field lines start from the positive charge, end with the negative charge. Right? This is a curve, continuous curve. Whereas if I draw something like this from negative to positive, this is what is called as closed loop.
So, okay, sir, it's unidirectional here.
Unidirectional. That's the first point. It always starts from positive charge and it will always end with a negative charge.
Okay, sir, I understood.
Okay, that is the meaning. So most of the part would be clear if you're clear with what is electric field lines. Okay. Now I'll go to the next important topic, that is what will happen when you place a dipole in uniform electric field. That's what we need to understand. So with respect to dipole, we saw two important derivations. What is it? We calculated the electric field due to a dipole at axial point and the equatorial point. Now what we are going to see is, so try to understand the concept, okay? So dipole means you had charges, we calculated what is the value of electric field produced due to the system of charges. Whereas this topic, dipole and uniform electric field means there is already electric field generated. In the already generated electric field, when you place a dipole, what do you think will happen to that dipole? I hope you guys are able to understand this, right? So the heading is dipole in uniform electric field. Uniform electric field. Okay. So an important point to be noted here from the concept of field lines is, if I take a positive and a negative, so what do I mean by uniform electric field is, uniform means it's a constant value. Okay. So if you observe an isolated positive charge, negative charge, or system of two charges, or a dipole, the electric field lines due to all these systems are said to be non-uniform. Because if I take any 2 points on the electric field lines, and if I put a question, is the magnitude of electric field at those 2 points the same? The answer to that question will be no. Okay. So the electric field line on any, the electric field value on any curve that you take, or at any 2 points on the curve that you consider, if you're going to, if the question is like, is the electric field's magnitude constant at these 2 points? The answer is no. Okay, because the distance is different and the orientation is different. So here comes an important question. So if that is going to be non-uniform electric field, then how is a uniform electric field supposed to be? A uniform electric field is nothing but a set of parallel electric field lines. Right, so I hope you're able to understand this, right? So in this system, in this kind of a system, I have a dipole which is placed in it. So what do I mean by a dipole? I have a positive charge and a negative charge. Now comes an important question. What will happen to this dipole as soon as it is placed in the external electric field? Okay, any guess? So some important points.
Experience a torque.
How do you know it experiences torque? Why not force?
Because a couple will be there at both the ends. It will have forces which are equal and opposite, so a torque will be felt.
Perfect. Okay. So electric field is equal to F divided by Q naught. Guys, am I clear with this? So the definition of electric field is the force between a source charge and the test charge divided by the magnitude of discharge. So can I write F is equal to Q naught into E? This is a very, very important expression. Means there are two ways to calculate force in this chapter. One is using Coulomb's law. When are you going to apply Coulomb's law? When will you apply, or when can you apply Coulomb's law? What is the required data? You need a
Need
system of
two charges.
you need a system of 2 point charges and the distance of separation between them. Correct?
Yes.
But I can calculate the force if I know another data also. If I know what is the electric field already existing and what is the charge I am trying to place in that electric field. If I know that data, what I will do is I will multiply the magnitude of electric field with the charge that is present. Okay. Here, an important point to be noted here is F vector and E vector are in same direction under what scenario? If Q naught is greater than 0. Okay. F vector and E vector are in opposite direction if Q naught is less than 0. I told you, right? Q naught, if nothing is mentioned, by default it is positive. Okay, Q naught, if it is not mentioned, by default positive. If they have mentioned Q naught as a negative value, then the force at the electric field will be in opposite direction. Is this point clear? Unless you are clear with this, I can't proceed. Is everyone
Yes,
clear
sir.
with clear, right? Now comes the question. So I
Sir,
have
can you
this
repeat the
system.
last statement once more, sir?
Which point?
Positive and negative about that one, sir. Q naught.
1 minute. Yeah, can you repeat what is the question? So, you,
Sir, the statement where you mentioned Q naught
Okay.
and positive and negative values.
okay. So I'm saying force and electric field will be in the same direction if Q naught is positive. See, for example, I have an electric field, okay. Let me say this is the already existing electric field. This electric field, we don't know who has generated. But one thing I'm clear, if this is how the electric field is, left-hand side will be positive charge or negative charge. What is the direction of electric field? Just now we learned.
Positive to negative.
So left side it is positive charge, right side it is negative charge. That's what these uniform electric field lines are trying to tell us. Okay, that is generated
sir.
from some source. I don't know what that source is, but I know that there is electric field. Now my job is take a point charge, place it in that electric field, and do an experiment and tell me how that charge is going to experience force. If I place a proton in this electric field, then according to F is equal to Q naught into E, what will happen? This electric field E is produced due to the source charge. In this case, the proton will behave like the discharge. So the proton will experience a force in the rightward direction. Accepted? And what will be the force experienced by it? It will be small e into capital E. So from this, what did I conclude? Force and electric field are in same direction. Or I can put
Yes,
it like
sir.
force is in the direction of electric field. Whereas if I put a negatively charged particle, that is an electron in electric field, then it would have experienced a force in the leftward direction.
Yes, sir.
Because you told this is positive, this is negative. Electron tends to get attracted to positive charge. So that is what I meant by that statement. This is an important point you need to understand. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is that clear? Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so what will happen here? If I take this charge as Q and the other charge as Q. Nikhilesh, can you tell me what exactly will happen? You told me it will experience torque.
So the Q positive will move in the right direction, negative will move in the left.
It will experience a
Experience
force
the
of
force.
how much value? Of how much value?
E, capital E, right?
E, I've written it as Q, no?
So Q, capital
Into,
E.
right? Because F is equal to Q naught into E, here Q naught is Q. Similarly, the negative charge will also experience a force of how
The
much value?
opposite direction.
It will experience a force of same value but in opposite direction. Why I am saying same value? Because the magnitudes are same. Okay. Now, there are two kinds of important motion we are going to discuss. What is it? Translatory and rotational. Correct, Ada? So now we need to answer the question. When will you speak about translatory motion? When will you speak about rotational motion?
We speak about translatory when they are in the same path.
Need not. That's not the step. That's not it. It has nothing to do with path. When can an object have a translatory motion associated with it?
When they're like charges, sir.
So
Dipole.
when when all the points move in the same direction, right?
Need not be that. That is not what you're trying. It has nothing to do with path. It has
Sir,
nothing
a
to.
straight line, sir.
Sorry.
A straight line, sir.
Yes, straight line is translatory motion. So that is okay.
Sir,
We can-
only one charge is present.
So
It has
from
nothing
one
to
point to other, it will move, right?
It has nothing to do with charge. I'm giving you a hint.
So
It has
from
nothing-
one point to another, the whole body will move, right?
When there is an unbalanced force.
Move in the same direction. Sir,
Why is
all the points move in the same distance.
No. Nothing like that. Nothing to move. Who is responsible for motion? What does Newton's first law say? An object will continue to be in the state of rest or in motion unless and until an external force is applied on it. So wherever you see this point, I want everybody to have it in your mind. When I say translatory motion, it is the unbalanced force that is responsible for it. Are you able to understand? It is the unbalanced force that is responsible for translatory motion of any system in this world. Okay. Then, who is responsible for rotational motion?
Balance.
Balance force will keep the objects at rest. It is torque. Okay, torque is also called as rotational force or moment of force. This is a very, very important term. Okay, now comes a point. So somebody told me it will start experiencing torque, hence it is going to rotate. Right, but we should know the fact that any object in this world can rotate only if there is an unbalanced torque acting on it. If the torques are balanced, the system will not rotate. Like, okay, if you have to visualize what that unbalanced torque is, observe this guys, okay? Pen, I'm holding it, okay? If I remove, I can't do it, but what do you think will happen if I remove both my hands? Okay, I'll bring another object, which is not dangerous. These are all basics of physics, please understand. The reason I'm stressing this, you need to understand or else there is no point. So if I remove both my hands, what will happen?
Will fall down.
Fall
Will
down.
Fall down.
It is what kind of a motion are you able to see?
Unbalanced force, so translatory
What
motion.
unbalanced force that is acting on this?
Down, the
Gravitational
gravitational
force.
force is pulling
Gravitational.
The gravitational force, initially why was it balanced? Because
in. You applied a force.
I applied friction. Like friction is existing between the fingers and this object. Had I applied oil here, it would have slipped. So it is mg which is responsible for the translatory motion. Okay. Now you need to visualize what is the meaning of unbalanced torque. Visualize it. Okay. I have this object. So wherever torque concept comes, no, you need to speak about axis of rotation. Okay. So if I hold it at this point, I'm not applying any pressure, no cheating. Okay. I'm not applying any pressure. If I take out my left hand, okay, I'm holding it here with my right hand. If I remove my left hand, what do you think will happen?
It will rotate downwards in an anti-clockwise direction.
With respect to you,
Clockwise. With respect to us, clockwise. Sir.
your perspective. Okay. With respect to you, it is going to be clockwise. Happen. So, is it rotating or having a translatory motion?
Rotating.
It is rotating. If I hold it slightly here, okay, I held it here, almost near the edge. If I slightly move to the left, if I try to leave it again, what do you think will happen?
The same thing. Like,
Don't
Again, it
try.
will rotate.
It will rotate, but look at the extent to which it is able to rotate. So here I held it, look at the way it is rotating. Here I held it, look at the way it is rotating. So if I move it even more close, what do you think will happen?
So
It is
it
At
won't
one point,
rotate.
it won't rotate at all.
It is rotating. At one point, it won't rotate. And that point is technically called as
Center of mass.
the center of gravity. because that is where the weight of the object is concentrated. If for this pen, it will be closer to the cap because this side it is heavier. If I go on the other side, it will again start rotating in the opposite direction. So what am I supposed to do to create a balanced torque?
Hold it in the center.
Center of
Gravity. So whenever you talk about rotation, I'm going to speak about all these points in this derivation. Derivation is simple. Okay, I can teach in 2 minutes. But the point is, you should understand why I'm writing the cross product only in those ways. That is my concern. Okay. So if I take it like this, this is going to be the axis. This is going to be the axis of rotation about which this object is rotating. So this is axis of rotation. So whenever you're talking about rotational motion, okay, you need to always speak about axis of rotation. Puriyadada? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to answer the questions that now I'm going to put some questions you people will answer. If I ask you, what is the net force acting on the system? What is the net force acting on the system?
It is 0, right, sir?
0, because QE is acting to the right hand side, or else I'll write it like this: QE I cap plus QE of minus I cap. See, minus I cap and I cap is only for your understanding. Okay, don't write that I cap and minus I cap in exam. Okay, so can I write it like this: QE vector plus of minus QE vector. So net force is going to be 0. Will it experience translatory motion? The answer is
No, sir.
this is the reason why it is not moving. Okay. Now comes another important question. Where is the center of this dipole? So it is going to be exactly over here. So it has a center. Right. Now, if I take this angle as theta, okay, if I take this angle as theta, if I drop a perpendicular from here, from O to A and O to B, the distance is A. Guys, accept.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now one more question is, the dipole moment is in this direction, P vector. Correct? No. Since I'm saying the net force that is acting on the system is 0, I'm trying to validate whether rotational motion is possible. So if I have to speak about rotational motion, the important point I need to take into consideration is I need to verify whether there is an unbalanced torque acting on the system. So what do? I will calculate the torque, or it is also called as moment of force or rotational force. Okay, so torque is represented by the symbol tau. Okay, a reverse J with a cap on top of it, it's tau. So what is the mathematical formula for torque? So torque
RF
is,
sin theta.
yes. So torque, if you write it in the vector form,
MI vector omega.
which one is right? Torque, if I write it in the vector form, can I write it as R vector
R cross F.
It is R cross. Okay, that is how it is calculated. That is the way the direction is calculated. Similarly, if I expand this and write, I will write torque vector is equal to RF sin theta multiplied with n cap. What does that n cap represent? N cap is a unit vector which is perpendicular to direction of what? In which direction? It is
Perpendicular to either of the vectors.
perpendicular to both the vectors, right? It is perpendicular to both the vectors for which you are doing the cross product. So it's a unit vector perpendicular to R vector and F vector. I hope this point is clear. Or if I write in terms of magnitude, I can write it as RF sin theta, or the best way to write it is force into perpendicular distance. So it can be written as force into perpendicular distance. Now comes an important question. I told perpendicular distance. So distance is measured between 2 points. So what perpendicular distance am I speaking about? It is the distance from, can someone tell me, how do I calculate the distance? It is the distance from the point of application of force, I'm repeating it, the distance from the point of application of force to the axis of rotation. Prida. So if I take a free body diagram of the dipole, I'm taking only for the dipole, QE was in this direction, the other QE was in this direction, this is the center. Prida. Now, if I take this as theta, then what is this angle going to be? That is also theta because they are vertically opposite angles. So if I take this as A, then this is also A. Then how much will this distance be, guys? O, A, B, C, D. What is AC?
A sin theta.
Very good. It is A sin theta. Similarly, BD is also A sin theta. Okay. So I'll calculate the torque due to the first particle. See, always observe one thing, no? When I deal with vectors, I'll be very careful. I will first ensure that I find the magnitude, then only I'll think of direction, don't do it simultaneously. So I'm writing it in the scalar form. Torque one another. It is force into, what is the perpendicular distance?
A sin theta.
A sin theta.
Perfect. Okay. Similarly, torque due to the second vector is QE into A sin theta. What are you able to say in terms of magnitude? In terms of magnitude, they both are same.
Equal.
They both are equal. So force also they were equal in terms of magnitude. They got cancelled out. Will the same happen with torque? Will the
No,
same
sir.
happen with why? That's what we need to answer.
Because the object going to move.
Different points they are applied, right?
Need not. Force was also applied at different points only. Nikhilesh, force was also applied at different points, but it came out to be zero. Right?
Yes.
Why not here? அது கிடையாது reason.
Zero, then will the object not move, sir?
Sorry.
Sir, if the torque is zero, will the object move or not, sir? It won't, right?
That I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find. I don't know what is going to happen. All the theory that I know, I'm applying it here. That's it. What is the heading? They told me a dipole is placed in uniform electric field. You study and tell me what is going to happen. With whatever mechanics formula I know, I have applied it. That's it. I'm asking certain questions. I'm just trying to answer them. Is the torque going to be zero, or in terms of magnitude, they're the same? When will they not get cancelled? Let's think in this way. When will the net torque not be equal to zero?
When they are same values, sir.
Same value தான் இருக்குல்லடா. It's the same value. It has nothing to do with
different motion. Do they different motion?
கிடையாது. This is where important. If both the torques are in the same direction, if both the torques, see, I told you an important point. I'm dealing with a vector. Torque is a vector quantity. I wrote only the magnitude. I never bothered about direction. So now my work is to validate what is the direction. If I validate and the value comes out to be in such a way that both the torques are acting in same direction, then I can say that the net torque is not zero. Now I need to think about it. For that, I need to go back to the basics of finding the direction of torque. How do I find?
Right hand
Right hand thumb rule.
thumb rule.
You will use right hand thumb rule. How to use it? Nikhilesh, you tell. How to use
So
right hand?
in the direction should close your fingers, right? The direction of force.
Which direction? So when I say rotation, I can speak about anti-clockwise or clockwise. How do I know which direction I'm supposed to rotate my fingers?
In the direction it is moving, right?
Direction in which what is moving? The Purila. I didn't understand. Direction in which what is moving? Moving in
Electric
this.
field lines.
See, when you say moving, no, you need to be very careful. Okay, moving is possible in two ways: translatory or rotational. You just use the word moving. I don't know what that moving is. It comes from the basics of cross product. Just give me a minute, I'll explain that. Okay. back. Listen, guys. Listen. Most of you would have not studied cross product. That is why I wanted to explain. I'll not repeat it again. The same thing will come in magnetism. At that point, don't ask me. Okay. If I have A vector, if I have B vector like this, right? And if I say the angle between them is theta, this A vector, this B vector. Okay. If I do A cross B, and I need to find the direction of n cap, because your people told me n cap is the direction in which n cap is the direction of unit vector which is perpendicular to both the vectors. That's what you people told me. Okay. I'm putting a question. This is A vector. This is B vector. Do the calculation from your side and tell me what is the direction of n cap.
Y-axis.
Positive y-axis.
So, see, if this is taken as a plane, I'll call this as x-axis, this as y-axis. So these two are in which plane? You need to visualize it. Which plane are they in?
XY plane.
They are in xy plane. Then how can n cap also be in the same plane?
Z.
It should be z-axis, but what z? Don't guess, okay? Be sure shot. Because you need to apply this at many places. Learn this concept now. A vector, B vector. Listen to this. So, write it down your notes. When you have A vector cross B vector, no, write it like this. A vector cross B vector. Write them as first vector cross second vector. So when you're doing first vector cross second vector, no, the meaning is the second vector should be fixed. Okay. The first vector should, so the second vector should be fixed and the first vector should be rotated from the point where it is to the second vector in the shortest direction possible. I can reach to the second vector like this, or I can go in this way. But I will go in the shortest direction possible. So what will be the direction? In which direction is A rotated?
Anti-clockwise.
It is anti-clockwise. So now you can say, curl the fingers of your right hand, you keep it like this, and in the anti-clockwise direction and extend the thumb. The thumb gives you the direction of the resultant. X-axis, positive y-axis, z-axis. What is the answer? It is
Z-axis.
okay, when you do this calculation, it is towards you. Similarly, if I do B vector cross A vector, what will happen? Keep the second vector fixed from the first vector, rotate it towards the second vector, the shortest direction possible. I can rotate it either clockwise or anti-clockwise. I'm going to rotate it clockwise according to the logic, and the answer is going to be minus Z, minus K. Frida. So keeping all these logics in mind, tell me what is the direction of torque in this so-called derivation.
Sir, how can we rotate our hands anti-clockwise, sir?
Like this.
Sorry, clockwise.
No, that is say anti-clockwise with respect to me. I kept it like this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, when you see you're facing the book means you curl the fingers like this. Okay. So now whatever I'm showing will be clockwise with respect to you, but it is anti-clockwise with respect to me. Seriya? Now tell me what is the direction in which this QE is going to put the system in. It will put the system into rotational motion. In which direction? In the clockwise direction. And this QE at the bottom will also put the system into clockwise rotation. Remember one important point, that clockwise
Sir,
movement.
by external force, we are putting it in rotational motion, sir.
Yeah, QE will put the charge into rotation, will put the system into rotational motion because it is hinged at the center, no? It is held at the center.
Yes, sir.
It is like this. I am applying a tangential force like this, okay? I am applying a tangential force like this. Look at the way it is going to rotate. Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
This is what is happening. So it will rotate clockwise. So clockwise moments are always negative and anti-clockwise moments are always
Positive.
Positive. The best example is your water bottle cap. If you have to open the water bottle, in which direction will you rotate? From the top.
Anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise is towards you. That is why it is positive. If you want to close it, you will make it in the clockwise rotation. That's what is called as. Okay, that's what is a screw rule. Every screw is designed based on that principle only. Okay, so keeping all these points in mind, if I give a vector symbol to it, can I write it as minus k cap? Here also, can I write it as minus k cap?
Yes.
Am I clear, guys? So what is
Yes,
the
sir.
net torque acting on it? It is torque due to the first vector plus torque due to the second vector. It is something similar to principle of superposition. What am I going to get? So the net torque is going to be 2 times QE into A sin theta into minus k cap, means the whole system is going to, the whole dipole will rotate with respect to you. The whole dipole will rotate in such a way that it will appear as if it is going away from you. Because it is going to rotate in clockwise direction, anything rotating clockwise direction will appear as if it is going away from you.
Sir, what happens if the dipole goes into horizontal position, sir?
It will only rotate like this. If you keep rotating all of that.
Sir, but when reaches horizontal position, the forces, net force will be 0, no, sir?
That force has already put it into rotational motion, no? That will continue because of inertia.
Oh, okay, sir.
It has started, the process has started.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So it is 2 times QA into A sin theta. 2Q multiplied with A is what?
Dipole moment.
Perfect. So dipole moment multiplied with E into sin theta in the direction of minus k cap is going to be the net torque. Correct? So PE sin theta into minus n cap. Now comes another trouble. AB sin theta n cap, correct? AB sin theta n cap, I can write it as A vector cross B vector or B vector cross A vector. Another headache for me. Now, the question I have in mind is, do I need to write it as P vector cross E vector or E vector cross P vector? What is the question? What is the right one? Because torque, you people told me R cross F, it is not F cross R. That is how it is formed. So, P sin theta minus k cap, I should either write it as P cross E or E cross P. What is right?
Sir, I don't understand, sir.
AB sin theta into n cap, okay, this is the formula. A vector cross B vector is equal to magnitude of A vector, magnitude of B vector, sin theta into n cap. I hope this you are able to understand. So similar
Yes,
is
sir.
B vector cross A vector, B vector, sin theta into a general n cap. This n cap is not the same for A cross B and B cross A. N cap is just telling it's a unit vector. But what is common? AB sin theta is common. So
sin
whether I
theta.
write it as A cross B or B cross A,
I think it's P cross E, sir.
why P cross A? Don't say because your textbook said that. That's how it is given in textbook. There should be a logic for it. Let's visualize it. Now I'm going to go to the basic. Okay. If you look at the diagram I have, okay, if I look at the diagram I have, the horizontal vector represents what? I have two vectors in my hand. What are they? Dipole moment and electric field. Dipole moment and electric field. What is the direction of, what is the vector which is horizontal according to the diagram?
Electric field.
Electric field.
So what is the vector which is inclined?
Dipole.
Dipole moment. This is
Dipole
P vector.
moment.
This is P vector, E vector. Okay. So from your side, remember, from your side, you need to apply the right hand thumb rule either in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, such that when you do the cross product between P vector and E vector, what should be the resultant direction? What should be the resultant direction? It should be minus k cap.
Minus k cap.
So do a trial and error method and tell me whether P cross E is giving you minus k cap or E cross P is giving you minus k cap. Okay, I will show it according to you. I think this is the way you are visualizing. think this is how it will look in your book. Correct? This is the book you will be writing from this side. Yeah. So this is electric field P. So P cross E means E should be fixed, P should be rotated towards E in the shortest direction possible. In which direction are you rotating?
Clockwise.
Clockwise.
Okay. So that is going to give you minus negative k cap. Whereas you do E cross P and C, E vector to P vector when you rotate, you're rotating it in the anti-clockwise direction. It gives you a positive value. But what is the answer saying? The unit vector should be in the direction of minus k cap. So out of both the options, which one should I choose? I should choose P vector cross E vector. Here, derivation is only 4 steps. Trust me, try to write the same derivation again and see. You will get it in 4 steps. But this is the whole story involved behind it. Am I clear with every point?
Yes, sir. Can you move a little bit up, sir? Can I see the
What?
diagram? More, sir. With the diagram.
Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Is this fine done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, make a note of it.
So this formula is used to find the direction of the torque, sir, the total torque.
The formula for torque, P vector cross E vector is a formula for torque. So the whole conclusion of the story is, when you place an electric dipole in uniform electric field, it will experience torque of how much value? It will experience a torque of PE sin theta in terms of magnitude, or it is P vector cross E vector in terms of vector, in terms of magnitude and direction.
Sir, sir. Mala. Thank you, sir.
Guys, so write down the conclusion. What is the conclusion? When a dipole is placed in, underline the word uniform electric field. When a dipole is placed in uniform electric field, it experiences what? It experiences torque. Okay, it experiences torque. Means the dipole in the uniform electric field will be only rotating like this. It will continuously be rotating. Nothing else it will do. Okay. So write another important note. Now comes an important question. So by the way, I hope you understood. What is the torque experienced by it? It experiences the torque of magnitude P sin theta, or P vector plus E vector in terms of magnitude and direction. Note. If an electric dipole, write it down. If an electric dipole is placed in non-uniform electric field, what would have happened? If an electric dipole is placed in non-uniform electric field, it experiences, anybody?
Translatory motion.
It experiences rotational and translational motion. Perfect. It experiences a rotational and translational motion. Okay. I'll just see, this is out of textbook, just for you to have a picture of what exactly is this dipole and all this thing. See, everything you read, science has an application, right? I'll tell you. So I'm sure most of you would have used a microwave oven. You will have a microwave at your home, right? So microwave is nothing but it consists of electromagnetic waves inside. Okay. Suppose you take water and place it in a microwave, switch it on for 30 seconds and try to take the water out. What do you think will happen? It's a known fact. You take a cup of
Boil.
water, it will boil, right? Or even if it is, let's say it is not boiling also, it actually is going to get heated up. That's going to get happen. Now what exactly is happening is, water, is it a dipole? Is water a
Yes,
dipole?
sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So H2O. So there will be a negative charge here, two lone pairs of electrons and dipole moment in this direction, dipole moment in this direction. So the resultant of these two dipole moments will be in this direction. So it's a polar dipole, known fact. So this dipole, when it is placed in that electromagnetic field, electric and magnetic field both are there, okay? As of now, electromagnetically electric is there. No, in a microwave, when this water dipole goes into a non-uniform electric field, what will happen is the molecule starts experiencing torque and translatory motion, and there will be a collision taking place between the water molecules, due to which the water is able to get heated up fast. Rita, are you able to understand what I'm
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That-
sir.
Yes, sir.
that is the logic of why you are studying all these things. Rita. See, it is difficult for me to show something with charges, okay? Let me show what exactly is translatory and rotational motion. I'll show it with the help of a magnet, but I want you to have one thing in mind, don't get confused. Whatever I'm showing here, whatever is acting like a north pole will be like a positive charge in electric field. South pole will be a negative charge in electric field, okay? So I have a north pole and a south pole. Can I call it as a dipole? It's a magnetic dipole. Correct?
Yes,
I have another magnet. Due to this magnet, there will be magnetic field around it. Accepted? Correct. There will be a magnetic field around this. This is a dipole. So what will happen when I place a dipole in magnetic field of the other one? Observe. So this has magnetic, so there is north pole, south pole. The magnetic field is existing from which direction to which direction? It is existing from
north to south.
to south, correct? There is a magnetic field here. In the area there is magnetic field. Though
Yes,
we cannot, we can experience it. Now this is a dipole with a positive and a negative charge. See what is going to happen. Did I touch?
No, sir.
What is happening?
It's experiencing torque.
It's experiencing torque. No cheating, okay? It's not rotating because of fan and torque. So it is experiencing torque. Purida. Whereas if I see, did you see what happened to it? When I take the north pole close to it, see, did you observe? When I take the north pole close to it, did you observe? This is what is called as
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
rotational and translational motion. So this is what happens. Since I cannot, unfortunately, I cannot show you with the help of charges. I'm taking the help of magnets. So this is the whole story of a dipole. What dipole? An electric dipole placed in external electric field. Clear? So that's it from my side, guys, for today. We have seen only one derivation, but a lot of concepts discussed. I want you all to revise this concept because it is very important. So slowly after 2-3 classes, I'll go fast. Okay, I'll not go this slow, I'll go a little fast only, or else we can complete syllabus only in Jan. Surya, any other doubts from today's class?
No doubts, sir.
All clear? That's good. So if there is any doubt also, I suggest you guys to go through the video again once it is uploaded in the app. Still you have any doubt, you can reach out to me on the student support number. Those who don't have my number, you can make a note of it. 6369210899. This is the student support number. Okay. You can ask your doubts in this number. WhatsApp me, don't call me.
Sir,
Okay. So done.
Sir, so rotational motion will happen first, sir, before
Yes.
translation.
Yeah, first rotation, then translation will happen.
Okay.
But that again depends, see, there are many parameters involved. That depends on something called as orientation. Because I use a value theta, theta is related to orientation. So how the dipole is placed in it is very important. Okay. So tomorrow I will start with something
Okay,
called
sir.
as stable and unstable equilibrium. That is going to be the topic for tomorrow. After that, we'll go to another important topic which is called as electric flux. That is the last part of the chapter. With
Okay,
that, we
sir.
are. சரியா? Okay. Da. Okay. So assuming there is no doubt, let's wind up this. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.